We as a society need to just stop and take a step back and realize that we're putting way too much pressure on ourselves to do everything, to have everything. And if we really want to live a simple life, it all needs to come from within. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another really casual sit down, chat with me type of video. And in order to have that chatting experience, I need you to comment down below so that we can have that dialogue. I really like these videos where I can just speak my mind and you guys can kind of chime in and tell me what you're thinking as well. So this is something that's been kind of on my mind a lot lately as I reflect on the idea of simple living, and that's all what my channel is all about, really. Minimalism, simple living, simple homes. And I think that when a person first really thinks about minimalism or living more simply, they want that for their lives, the first inclination is to go about decluttering, getting rid of all the excess stuff and, having less to manage in their homes. And that's a really good first step. That is where I started as well, because I thought that that would solve all the issues I was having. But as I've come through this journey, and I'm like 7 years or more into it, I realized that there's a lot more to it, and that it really comes down to a person's mindset and really an entire life change. So the title of today's video, the thumbnail, is going to be something like, "You're doing too much." And when I say that, I'm really talking to myself as well, because it's a lesson that I'm continually learning and developing that muscle in my brain to realize that I don't have to do everything. I don't have to have everything. We are just as a society trying to do way too much. And I know that a lot of times the blame will get put on social media, or just the fact that we're all connected through the web. We can see what other people are doing. We can see the things that other people have, and we get jealous. I mean, we're human. That happens to everyone. And what I want to say is we can really put up those blinders if we are really thoughtful about our own beliefs and our own, intuition about our lives. So for example, when it comes to materialism, products, we want that quick fix of, oh, well, Jane over here, she bought this vacuum cleaner and her house looks really clean, and so I'm gonna buy this vacuum cleaner and my house is gonna look really clean. It doesn't work that way. And I know, being a content creator here on YouTube, that whole idea has really gotten out of hand. I don't know if you've noticed, if you watch my channel regularly, I haven't done a single sponsored video in the past year. Not that I haven't been offered to do them. I have. Many offers come in all the time, but I say no to that because I feel like it would be disingenuous of me to promote something to you if it's not something that I truly use and love. I think it's a little bit icky sometimes when I watch different minimalism channels, simple living channels, and I can literally feel the commercial, the advertisement about to come. You just can sense that it's about to come up. And I understand why people do it, because it's a way to make money, which is why my channel will probably never be a big channel, because I'm not interested in that. Again, as it relates to simple living, it's not just about the stuff. There are so many other aspects that we need to just peel that whole facade away and say, okay, we don't need to do this or that. So another thing I've been thinking about is like exercise or health or, physical fitness. There is a big push right now for diet drugs that are, a quick fix. We can just take this shot, take this pill, and we will lose the weight, and, life will be so much easier. For a select group of people that have very difficult time losing weight, they need to lose the weight for their own health, those products can be very useful. But is it a blanket statement that everybody needs them? Of course not. And so that being promoted as like the way to do it is not the truth. Or you'll see on YouTube, you'll see channels that they're marathon runners or they're in Ironman competitions. And while it's very inspiring to watch their whole journey of training for these things and getting ready for these things, not everyone's going to be a marathon runner. Not everyone is going to, be in the Ironman competition. I've personally run 2 marathons in my life before I had kids, and I can't say I'm ever going to do one again. Not that it wasn't a good experience, but I just don't have the time to devote to that right now, nor do I want to spend the time to do that. I have found exercise-wise that lately, I'm in my mid-40s, I do like running, but I found that the exercise I actually enjoy the best right now is walking. And the reason I like it is it's exercise that gets me outside, and it's also time that I get to spend with my husband, and we get to connect that way, which is another way that I feel like the too much factor is poured on us. It has to do with connection with our spouses or our significant others. If you're not going on dates, you have to have date night, with your spouse. You have to go on vacations with your spouse, or, you must have a terrible marriage. But no, like for me, going on those little walks, being able to talk through our days with each other, that is great connection for us. We don't feel that need to have to do these other things. We've been married almost 23 years at this point. Our marriage is very strong, very solid, and that works for us. Another way that the too much can get thrown on a person is through food preparation, so recipes, and there's just so many recipes online where you could try a new recipe every single day and not run out. Again, some people really like spending time in the kitchen. I'm not one of those people, and so being able to realize, okay, that looks kind of delicious, but I don't have the mental capacity to want to try that recipe right now. What's worked for our family is just having meals that we go through rotation systems with them. We know that all of us like it. I can make them quickly because I'm the one that prepares the food. I don't need to spend extra time in the kitchen. That would be doing too much for me. And being able to get those recipes out, enjoy them together as a family, which for us is really the main point of the whole meal preparation, is being able to sit down and eat together as a family. And so, that's kind of how I've come to approach that. But if you were just looking at social media, you might think, okay, if I'm not preparing a new recipe at least once a week, then I'm doing something wrong. Not true. How about activities and the things that we're involved in? This can be a major trap that parents fall into, thinking that if their kids aren't involved in all the different activities, that they're going to fall behind. And, I'll be honest, when our first son was, 6 years old, 7 years old, he was in like this little soccer club that they would meet a couple times a week. It was very adorable, cute. When he hit about that 7-year-old mark, maybe 8, I can't remember exactly, but he was given the opportunity to join a summer soccer league. And what that entailed was going to a different town every single Saturday and playing in these tournaments. And I remember looking at him and saying, is this something that you want to devote your time to? And as a kid, he's just like, no. I want to be able to have fun at home. I don't want to spend every single Saturday on the road at these tournaments. And so he quit soccer at that point. Being involved in the PTL at school, volunteering your time at your church, signing up for extra shifts at work. There's just like so many different things that you could do in terms of activity that if you take a step back and realize that, okay, maybe I am doing a little too much, you really start to feel that when it comes to the activity and when your time gets sucked away from you. Another thing that I've noticed in a lot of people, myself included in the past, was debt, or the way that we spend our money. And just being able to go out and use that little piece of plastic, that little credit card, and be able to buy whatever we want right now and then deal with the consequences of that later. It's a very dangerous, slippery slope that we catch ourselves on, but they're so commonplace right now in our culture, where it just seems normal. It just seems like everyone's doing it. And so I'm a big follower of Dave Ramsey because he's the one that we practiced his teachings in order to get ourselves out of debt. But he recently said on one of his podcasts, you need to be more inspired or more looking forward to a bright future than a fake present. And that's really what it boils down to. we've been in debt. My husband and I were in debt, and we worked so hard to get out, and it's not any place that I ever want to be again. And so that was a huge part of our simple living journey, was being able to, you know, say no more. We're not doing this anymore, and just stepping away from all of that. Another thing I want to talk about is, and probably the last point that I'm going to make today, is in regard to self-care. And that's a buzzword that gets thrown around a lot as sort of a treat yourself mentality. And that might show up as someone promoting, it's a great idea to rent a VRBO or a hotel room where you can stay for the weekend just by yourself and reconnect and just be in the quiet silence, or to go to these fancy spas and get in all the treatments, the massages, the pedicures, the facials, or maybe something as simple as just being at the store and seeing an item that you like and kind of not sure if you want to buy it, but then, well, I'm going to treat myself. Because I'm going to care, I really care about myself, so I'm going to treat myself and buy that purse or buy that pair of shoes. And again, not knocking anybody that does these things, because there's a time and place, you know, for these things for certain people. For me, it's too much, because just taking a shower at night is rejuvenating, or reading a book in the quiet is a peaceful time where I can reconnect with my thoughts and my feelings. And so I don't need to do all of that extra stuff. So generally speaking, the overall idea that I hope I got across today was just the whole premise of too much. There are so many things that are promoted to us, so many things that you can buy, you can do, places you can go, things you can see, and you just don't need to do it all. And I don't think enough people are talking about that it's okay if you don't go on a date night every single week with your husband. It's okay if you're not making a new recipe every single week, or that your kid isn't in soccer full time in the summer. It's okay. It's okay to say no. It's okay to strip all of that stuff back and say, what do I really want for my life? And when it comes to simple living, sure, decluttering is a great first step. That's a great way to start that muscle of really intentionality. But it goes so much further than that. It goes so much deeper than that. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything that's being thrown at you, and you are just spinning because you're trying to balance all of these plates and keep everything in control, you're probably just doing too much. And you can just say no to some of it, get rid of some of it, and live a more simple life. I would love to know your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for watching today's video, and I hope that you'll stop back again really soon.